Streets don't love nobody. Gotta find a new route to make it out, man, cause streets don't love nobody. Used to think it was all good, but I found out the hard way. Streets don't love nobody. Used to think the streets was all I knew, but streets don't love nobody. Nah, streets don't love nobody.
Yo,
Yo.
welcome to another episode of Reality Poet TV. I'm Vince, if you don't know.
V to the AR.
Yeah, so we got a special guest, yeah?
Yes.
Mr. Beware, your favorite rapper has appeared. You know what I'm saying? He said
What's
it
going
himself.
on? What's up, y'all?
I'll let you introduce yourself.
I go by the name of Chapo. Y'all already know me as Live Mula, but I'm blessed to be here with these two gentlemen. We can't wait, man. I've been looking forward to this convo. I ain't gonna lie.
Bro, we've been looking forward to this shit too. It's like our first real interview, you know what I'm saying? And like you said.
Oh, what? Oh, shit. We got the first one. All right. That's what I'm saying. That's what's up.
I mean, we had shows, but it's real. So, like you said, fuck the bars and metaphors. Like, got something to talk to.
Right. Now, I think that's why I rocked with you guys. I'm all about, like, what the culture represents, and I'm all about messaging, too. So when I looked into, like, even the Reality Poets brand, I appreciated the fact of what y'all was even talking about. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people ain't talking about what y'all talking about out here. Like, you know what I mean? It's a breath of fresh air to see people actually care about the culture, that actually want the culture to change and, you know, don't lean into necessarily all the bullshit. So
Yeah,
I was like, if I'm going to do anything, like, we got to go see them. We got to tap in, you know, so I'm glad to be here.
Definitely appreciate it, man. Yeah, so let people know, you know what I'm saying, a little bit about you, man. You know, you was in the industry at a young age, man.
Really?
Where you from?
Well, originally, I'm from East New York, Brooklyn, Wyona, between Livonia and Riverdale, right there off the 3 and the 2, BK all day. So that's where I'm originally from, but at like 14, 15, I had got signed to Harvey Mason Jr. in L.A., who's like head of the Grammy committee. And how we got that relationship was just, my boy was part of like the Rough Rider Motorcycle Club. He went out there to shoot the movie Biker Boys, and he met this NBA player named Chris Mills. Chris Mills was, at the time, head of a car company also, like as a side hustle. He had a car company called Platinum Motorsports. They were the ones supplying the cars for the movie that my boy was doing the stunts for. And they kind of kicked it off and became cool. And then as the NBA player, Chris Mills was like, yo, I'm actually looking to get into the music business. Do you know any artists? My boy just always kept me in mind because I was always back home just rhyming on the block and shit. So he was like, yeah, my boy, at the time went by the name Juice. So he's like, yeah, my boy Juice. And then, you know, he calls me. The NBA player dude tells me like, yo, pack your shit. You gonna move out here. I'm gonna introduce you to people. And like within a couple of days of me being out there, he introduces me to Harvey Mason. Harvey Mason then signs me to his publishing company, Harvey Mason Jr. and the Underdogs. And at the time, I ain't really noticed, but I was the youngest like songwriter ever, like signed to him. I didn't think that was a big deal at the time. I wound up finding out like years later how big of a deal it was. So I signed to him, and then I also kind of like shadowed up under Game a lot because I was living with Chris Mills and G Magic. Shout out to G Magic, who's the head of Game Security right now. They basically like kind of sent me to rap boot camp with him type shit. Like, yo, just go hang out with Game and shit. So Magic would bring me around. And so being with Game on the West Coast, I was able to like, anybody I needed to get in contact with rapper-wise, industry-wise, like Game at this time was like the hottest shit on the West. Like he was smoking hot. So I was able to like move around different circles there. And then because of me being signed to Harvey Mason, I had access to like all the A-list type acts and shit, like, you know, Celine Dion and people who I would never be able to get in the room with. You know what I mean? Like through Harvey, I was able to always slide in. If I had something, he would be like, go play it for them. Go try to get a placement. So shout out to Tank and Jay Valentine too, because they was like big bros to me for a while. like when I first came in, and just understanding how to get placements and how to, sneakily slide into a session and play a song for artists. Like I learned a lot of that shit from them. But Game was more hands-on with me, like throughout the day. I would say him and G Magic, like everyday type shit. Like Chris Mills and G Magic, I was in high school, so they had to pay for my homeschooling. So at first they wanted to send me like to high school out there, but they was like, it don't make sense for you to go to school. Like where they were living at was like in the valley and shit. So it was like they was like, I don't think you would want to go there. And my schedule just, it didn't allow for that. Like honestly, we was almost at the point where if it wasn't for my mama, we probably would have skipped right past the high school shit. But my mama was like, nah, if y'all gonna take my son out there, y'all gonna make sure he get his shit. So Chris and Magic wound up paying for like a homeschool tutor type situation. So I would go from the tutor to Harvey Mason's studio, and then at like 4, 5, 6 o'clock, I knew Game's studio sessions would start. So I would go to his sessions, try to like knock out my homework and shit within the hour of that time, and then like just be around gaming them. Like honestly, it made me grow up fast. Like, cause everybody moving at 100. You know what I mean? Like,
and you ain't got no rest.
Right. And I ain't getting no rest. And they don't really care I'm a kid. They treating me like
you one of the fellas.
Like I'm one of the fellas. So a lot of them wouldn't understand, like, oh, you gotta do your homework. Or I remember asking one of the homies to help me out with like some math homework shit. I remember the conversation. He like, dog, I couldn't tell you how to divide a fraction if you put the pistol to my head right now. I'm not the one for that. But and kept it going. But just growing up in that environment with them and running around, like industry was a big part. And, definitely Game. So I always salute him for that. Word.
Let me ask you this. You said that being that you was signed at a young age, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
What age did you start writing? What made you start writing?
Wow, that's a deep one. So I started writing like poetry at first. Like it started off on some like to girls in my middle school class and shit. Like that was like my little thing, like writing notes. And then you get into that age where kind of like hip hop just like smacks you upside your head, like, and it's hard not to want to be a rapper at this time. At this time, this is when like Fab is starting off, and Jewels is popping, and all these guys that look like me and that represent where I come from is, highly influential. You know what I mean? So as I start writing, I always tell people I kind of learned a little backwards. Like I wanted to be number one artist. I ain't want to do the mixtape grind shit. So I kind of like, I knew the Fabs and Jewels and them existed, but surprisingly, I was looking at artists like Nelly, like Ja Rule. Like I was looking at these type of artists because I'm like,
whoever was hot at the time.
Right. I'm looking at them because I'm like, they're doing something that's a little different. Like at the time, I ain't never heard, and I'm not saying that they was the first, but for me, for my age demographic, Nelly and Ja was the first ones that I heard put melody into bars. Because usually people would reserve melody and changing up every 4 bars for a hook. Like, you know what I mean? So rappers would just rap like straight through type shit. But when I would hear them do it, to me, it was like, it was something new. It was like, yo, like, how is he changing up every 4 bars like that? Like, why is he putting melody there? So I looked at it like from a more technical type stance, and I like implemented that style into the way I wrote. Like, so I would take Fab type bar setups, but put a Nelly type melody on it or a Ja type melody. And I did that shit. That's how I like came up with my style. So when I went out to LA, I already had like a certain cadence, a certain style, a certain like flow that was like easily captivating out there. I remember there's a producer named Boy Wonder. He was shopping music at the time, and we did like an entire mixtape together. And then, I wound up becoming something else. But yeah, those are like my blueprints of how I learned shit. Like I was fortunate, bro. I was able to not only pick up the street essence of what an MC was, but watching Harvey, watching all the big dogs cultivate records. I remember talking with Harvey, and they never called things songs. Like they never would be like, "Oh, this is a song." Everything was a record. So when people would say, "You need a record," I didn't understand what that was. I was like, "The fuck you mean? I got a bunch of songs over here." There's like, no. You need a record. So I started understanding what goes into a record. People always say like, "There's really," and to a certain extent, there is no blueprint for a number one, but there sort of is a little bit. Like the essence of what captivates is always going to, you know what I mean? Like in the past, it used to be repetitive. Like if you repeat something on a hook, it became repetitive. Now, it's more so like a line. Like listen to Young and May's "Ooh." That has the essence of a number one record, but it's literally a verse with a "ooh" in the middle. You know what I mean? So I started less looking at like randomly, oh, let me make a girl song, let me make a song for the club, let me make this, and started focusing on, let me make a record, like let me make this. So once we like got that locked in as part of our DNA, we kind of like took off from there, like with the songwriting shit. We was like one of the most highly sought. I think between myself and Tank, when we was under Harvey, like we was on everything. Tank was killing everything in R&B. I think he was working with Breezy at this time on the Fame album. And then the Fortune album, and he pulled me in on the Fame album too. So shout out to Tank for that. And yeah, bro, we was just killing everything. Like anything that was coming in that studio, whoever it was, big artists, small artists, I was laying hooks for them. I was writing. And because of that, I ain't want no parts of like being an artist, because I was making so much paper as a writer. Like, you know what I mean? Like I never even knew what an artist check looked like. I just heard artists always complaining. Like, oh, the money is this, and that. I was like, yo, I've never had those problems. Like, my first deal was $275,000. That was my first publishing deal. And from there, it was just 20,000 a verse, 50,000 a hook. So I didn't understand when artists would be like, yo, I ain't getting money. I'm like, damn. And that's the thing for artists too, bro. Your money gonna get touched by like 10 other people before you ever see your check. So I tell people that if you don't love this shit, don't think being a rapper is throwing on the camera, putting on a beat, and putting a video out there. Like, you gonna have them days where you gonna be hustling and nobody, you gonna feel like you talking to nobody. And that's the part where I think a lot of the kids don't really understand, because they see everything go viral. Everything is so instant that they think that that's the story of everybody, when that's like
they see the jewelry, they see, you know what I'm
saying? That's a selective few, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think Academic said something. He was like, yo, about 1% of the guys you think is getting money is getting money. And that's a fact. Like, I see a lot of millionaire talk amongst artists, and I know them personally. I know what their counselor, and I'm like, if you could get away with it, cool, bro. But that's not the reality. And to mislead people as if it is the reality.
They got it front.
But that is, I call it poverty pimping. Like you selling the idea of being rich, people who want to be rich. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and you're not even rich yourself, but you're selling that idea. Like,
they fronting for the grand.
Fronting for the grand, bro. And that shit has taken over our culture to, like, look what it's done.
Yeah,
like, look what it's done. Like, everything now is so action reacts. People need instant gratification off of things. Whereas in, like, when I was coming up, it was all about the hustle and what you put into shit. What you put into is what you get out of it. Now motherfuckers want to just put nothing but go up crazy. So they'll take like the clout route. It's just a bunch of different routes they'll try to take, or to try to get to that spot. But that shit lasts short term. Like, I tell people, that shit always gonna last short term. Hustle lasts long term.
Definitely.
As fast as that shit come is as fast as that shit gonna go. If you don't got a foundation out here, if you ain't out here actively building relationships, building a following, building with people and growing, that star gonna dim. Like, you know what I mean? And that's for everybody. Even the biggest artists in the world go through. There was a time where Lil Wayne was everywhere, bro. Everybody talking about Wayne the greatest, da-da-da-da. Now that Carter 6 came out, everybody was, I don't know about Wayne, bro.
Yeah, that shit trash.
So, yeah, I thought it was trash. Bro, I got eaten up for... I was online. I got eaten up for that shit, for being honest.
Nigga, after the third song, I said, I want Queen Latifah that shit. Set it off.
I think I just feel like he out of touch, bro. Yeah. And he been out of touch for a minute.
Yeah.
And I get it. When you in that bubble, bro, like I always try to put myself in somebody else's shoes. Imagine a day in the life of Weezy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you being told by everybody around you, you probably got 1,000 yes men. Everything you drop is fire to everybody. Nobody gonna sit down and have a real conversation with you because nobody want to stop getting paid. Everybody getting paid. Nobody
want to sit there and say, "Nah, son, that ain't it."
Right.
That shit trash. You gotta do that over.
Nobody want to do that, so they'll let
a nigga like me around.
Right, bro. They'll let you walk off the cliff.
Trash.
But they'll let you walk off the cliff. Like that's why I always try to keep some kind of grounded. Like. I don't get caught up in the Instagram shit because that's an echo chamber. Like, I'll talk to people on X, TikTok, all over because sometimes you need a real assessment of what you're doing and what you're doing wrong. Right. And if you got just a bunch of yes men, y'all just going to be yesing yourselves into being broke or yesing yourselves into not doing shit. So that was my whole thing. Like, yo, teams win championships, all that shit, cultivate a nice team around me, never get so, like, blindsided to where you think you know everything in this motherfucker because you don't. I was one of them niggas that thought I knew every fucking thing, had an answer to every fucking thing, and you know, at the end of the day, you close doors like that.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you, like, being so young in the game, like, you ever felt like you was being taken advantage of, or how long did it take you to really learn the game?
I mean, looking back, I could say. Yeah, hell yeah, motherfuckers took advantage. Like, you know, this one took advantage. This one, but when you a kid in it, you're looking at it like you just happy to be in the room. You just happy to be right. You just happy to be around. You don't realize that they kind of need you more than you need them at that moment. Especially if you're on the writing side and you're on the like making the music side. So. Like I say, you're just happy to be in a room type shit.
Especially where you came from.
Especially where, you know what I mean? Like, you don't think you going... Bruh, they got these things called runners in the studio where, like, whatever you want, they go and get, and it's on the budget of the studio. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even got to pay. Well, it may have came out of Game's budget. I don't know. Being around that shit have have any kid looking like, oh, yeah, like, whatever you need me to do, I got you. And I think about that shit now. Like, bro, I used to have grown-ass men telling me, yo, where the bitches?
Yeah, that's like in Drink Champs. I just learned them niggas got a personal roller in it.
Right, you know what I mean? Bro, it's like that. Like, but I had to look at it like, why y'all all 30-year-old men? I'm 16, 17. Y'all asking me where the bitches? Y'all want me to bring a bunch of chicks my age here for y'all niggas? I didn't get that at that time. At that time, I'm just looking at it like, my homies want me to call some females. My homies want me to, you know what I mean? But I'm not putting that on Chuck or Game or anything like that. What I'm saying is anybody I've worked with, that's always been a commonality thing when you come around. Where's this? Where's that? But my whole thing was, I'm the kid. I'm coming in. I'm the youngest one here. Y'all asking me where the bitches, where's this, da-da-da. I don't realize that I'm not only partaking in some shit that I probably shouldn't be, but also, like, y'all shouldn't even be asking me that.
Yeah, y'all should.
Like, y'all shouldn't even be asking me shit like that just based off the fact, nigga, I showed up to this bitch with a book bag on. Y'all all, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. And then, like, aside from that, you just get drawn in by the lifestyle with the cars, the money. Like, I was at a point... Yeah, I was at a point where whatever the number I asked for, if they wanted to hire me to write some, I could tell Atlantic or UMG, I need 30,000, I need 40,000. And because of Harvey Mason and who he was and then who Chuck was and who, like, just my whole circle and what I've done in the past, my resume, labels just giving that shit up, no problem. Here you go.
Shout out to fucking Harvey.
Word, shout out to Harvey. Word, I got a big bag with Harvey. Thanks. So I was able, you know, you running up, bro, I'm running up a bag not noticing. Like, I'm spending, I'll give you a perfect example. You hire me to write a song. Let's say you're a label guy. Yo, I want to hire Chapo to come in and work on a record. how much does Chapo charge? I may say, all right, give me 15, give me 20. And that's me like thinking I'm sticking it to you. They're like, all right, cool, no problem. They give me the 20. Now I go in the studio with they artists. I've been in this motherfucker for about 12 hours. We drinking, partying, girls. I done wrote way more than one song. I done wrote about, we did enough for a fucking mixtape at this point. I'm there, but I only got paid for one, and they technically only owe me for one. So anything extra I did, that's your business. Then when it come down, I started learning split sheets and all of that shit. When it come down to those, I'm giving up a big chunk of my publishing to Harvey, but I'm not looking at publishing, royalties, none. I don't care about that. Show me the money. That's how I'm thinking as a 17, 18, 6, show me the money. Like,
Never seen that much money.
I ain't never seen this one. So I'm treating this shit like it's the block. I'm taking 30,000, putting it in the sock drawer, forgetting about it, and doing that to, I did some wild shit out in LA. Like, I ain't gonna lie, but that whole shit, like, you don't realize where you think you smarter than them, they're 10 times smarter than you, bro. So they're giving me this 30,000 because they like, this stupid motherfucker don't know we about to make about 4 or 5 million off of this. Or we about to take this, put this out for this artist, and this artist is now gonna have an album that they can tour on and make 20, 30, 40, 50 million for the rest of their lives. And he want $10,000, $15,000. Give it to him, bruh. Like, we'll give it to you in cash. You want it in cash? And I didn't understand why they were so like this. So I'm doing this for years, bro. Years. And I'm also doing it kind of under Harvey's nose. Because now we dealing with cash. So I'm calling labels myself. Yo, y'all need me to come? All right, yeah. Give me whoop-de-whoop. Yeah, no problem. There's a check for you waiting. I'm going to pick up the check. I'm snatching every fucking check I can at this time. I'm trying to eat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm snatching every check I can, and little did I know, I think I'm beating the system, not realizing, bro, the system, they've accounted for niggas like me. They 2 steps ahead. They like, yo, we already got the song. We know what's on your contract already. We done looked. You're good. There's nothing you can do. And when you do that shit for about 10 years, bro, there's songs that I've written that I found out were out on the radio. Like, literally, songs that I probably did 4 or 5 years ago. I'm driving in the car and it come on and I'm like, wait a minute.
That's your shit.
And then I call a label, hey, what's up with, oh, we paid you for that. Yeah. They got the invoice, they got it written down, they got the shit on paper. We don't owe you anything.
They was like, what you want?
Word. So once you learn that, like, you're not smarter than the industry, you never gonna out hustle. Like, especially coming from, we always think we could out hustle something. We always think we could beat it. I could beat the system. Nah, I could beat these niggas. Or I could, bro. That shit is built on people like us. It's built on the dreams of people like us. It's built off the rich get rich off of that passion that we got, thinking we could beat them, and they always a step ahead. So I had to, when I stopped, that's how they get theirs. And when I had to stop, I just completely like pulled back and just was like, all right, let me collect and let me build my team up. So we're not saying we do this to other people, but like at least now I know where it's coming from. Like, you know what I mean? That's why you gotta have some good brothers around you.
Now, then that you saying that Ja Rule started. Actually, Ja Rule did start that wave with the singing it.
You don't get the credit either.
Time, niggas started roasting him for that shit. That's when 50 and them.
Yeah, singing ass nigga, yeah.
You took the shit. A lot of people, not that many people did it, but the few that have, like, that mastered it, they did their thing. But I listened to your sentence, right? And the first track that came on, son, yo, the country, my nigga.
Word.
Fire.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. As he was listening to it, I'm telling him, because Stein gave me, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of history on the song, that's you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just flipped it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, word. So we couldn't. So when I was creating the album, there was a lot of like sounds in my head that I had, but these things didn't exist. Like these samples, like I would have these ideas for samples and shit, and then I would like try to go and find something similar, and we just couldn't find anything from that era that matched. So me and my producer Noise had this wacky ass idea where we was like, yo, what if we just sampled our own selves? Like, what if we just, all right, we trying to look for some blues shit. We can't really find shit like that. All right, I'm gonna learn how to sing in blues. Let me learn the cadence of blues, the riffs that they use, the tones. That's what got me so deep into the album because I'm now it's going beyond music. It's going into our history now. Now it's going into our culture, our history, our background, where we how blues started. Even something that come from pain. Like to know like all these sounds and all these, like the origin. Like now I'm in that realm. So now I'm learning things not only about the music, but I'm learning things about myself and about certain circumstances that we in. And you know, my brain is just expanding in a way like that. But yeah, when we did that, we wanted to make the music first, and then we didn't run into sample issues. Like nobody want to deal with trying to clear a sample, especially like I've dealt with that before, and it's a nightmare, bro. Like you know, trying to clear shit from like the 40s or the 30s and shit. So I'm like, nah, we ain't gonna do that. Like, let's make our own shit. I mean, the technology is so advanced nowadays that you know, you put a little filter on something. I mean, you gotta have the talent, obviously, first. But if you execute it the right way and you put a slight tweak of tone and put this down and put this up, you know, it's amazing what you could do with that. So we built that album from like nothing. We had an idea of the story we wanted to tell, which was the way people listen to Ready or Die, the way people listen to Life After Death in the generation above me. I don't feel like there were any albums like that for us. So that's where I kind of started. I'm like, yo, I want to tell the story of the average kid growing up on the East Coast, but how do we make it relatable to 2025 without sounding like what people would call dated? Like, that sounds like some old school shit. So I'm like, well, the Sinners movie had a big impact on culture, and there was so much deep shit in that movie that I was like, all right, let's take that out. Let's use that as a template to tell this story, because people can understand it through examples, literally geared to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. If you can't capture somebody in that, people off to it. Nobody has the attention span nowadays to sit and really digest music. It got to catch you, or a lot of people will skip over. So I'm like, damn, we're fighting against that. We're fighting against the auto-tunes being turned all the way up and the singy-songy shit. And then we're also fighting a narrative that was out on me on the internet. So there was just a lot of battles there at once. And I was like, all right, we gonna chop at each one of these. And we wound up being able to tell the story. And I always tell people, like, I wanted to make an audio book. I didn't want to just make songs. I wanted something where you put on your headphones, you press play from beginning to end, and it tell you a story there. Like, there's an entire story on that album. And, you know, of course, we touch on things that's going on in the culture. There's a lot of double entendres, a lot of layers, but that's an homage to who I built, you know, my skill off the backs of. Like, you know, Big is a big one. Hove's a big one. Prodigy, Mobb Deep. Like, these were guys, not only that, like I said, I listened to as part of the culture, but I always had an ear for the bigger acts, more like the Jaws, the Nellies, because I'm saying to myself, they're doing something. And this is where 50, so 50, with the whole Ja Rule thing, I looked at it like, it was almost like a troll against Ja, because the shit that separated Ja was the main thing that Fifth went at. And it was because Fifth understood that that's what makes you special. So how do I sit there and make you not look special? I'm going to make that thing that you do that makes people think you special, I'm going to make people think it's stupid. Oh, you singing ass rapper, da-da-da. And 50 was so hot and influential at that time, he literally convinced everybody that it was stupid. Like, yeah, Ja, you sound like the Cookie Monster, da-da-da. And then took the style and ran with it.
Yeah. To say that shit.
Bro, that was a mind fuck that I know Ja to this day probably sit there and go, I really let that shit, I let him trick me out that.
Yeah.
That should be Windows
Yeah.
Phone.
But that's the genius of Fifth. Like Fifth understand. Like that's why when my troll, I use it for my trolls. When my trolls come at me, and I got a lot of them. Like my trolls, they'll come at everything. They'll talk about this, my teeth. Yo, you look like this. You sound like this. But I use them as free brand consultation. So a troll is always gonna point out what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Oh, your nose big. Da-da-da. If it's something that I could adjust in my brand to be better, I use it as free brand consultation. If it's not, if it's some goofy ass shit like your teeth too big or something like that, that's whatever. But I don't instantly go to block my trolls because bro, you need to make them niggas work for you. They there to point out when you slipping because they gonna let you know. The first people to let you know when you slipping is your haters. Oh, nigga, you ain't had a hot song in 6 months. All right, I gotta get a hot song now. Let me go to the studio, get on my shit. Let me that. They always gonna point that out. So I just learned from those dynamics and all that. When I was making this album, I was like, yo, we gotta make sure we tell the story and we gotta tell it right. And even if people, let's say their palate is tuned into, let's just throw something out there, like Young Thug, like, yo, I only listen to Thug and Playboy Cardi. I was like, how do we reel them in? How do we get them in? So there was just a lot of factors that we used to make this joint, bro. It was a soul searching album for me because I found my sound officially in it and was able to branch off from everything that was attached to my name as far as like what the internet was trying to say type shit. But
Yeah, definitely. Stein put me on before you dropped this Sinners album, you know, and I listened to it. But he used to keep telling me, yo, he about to drop something. He about to drop. When he dropped, he told me. You know what I'm saying? He had to tell me like 3 times. Listen to that joint. Listen to that joint.
sound about right.
Yeah. When I finally threw it on though, and he told me from beginning to end, listen to it. When he finally that first track came on, I said, hold up.
Right.
Next track. I'm like, yo, this shit. Then I hit him up the next day. Bro, yo,
Wow.
you gotta listen to this.
That's dope.
You gotta listen to this. This shit is hip hop.
When you're outside smoking, and this motherfucker, as soon as he pulled up, he said, yo, you gotta listen to that shit. He said,
That's fire.
Sinners. So I go to the shit, and like I said, as soon as the first track came on, I'm thinking the whole shit gonna be country. And I'm sitting there rocking my motherfucking head. My chair rocking everything. I'm in tune with this shit. Then you just flipped over. I'm like, oh, son, versatile. He's versatile.
Yeah,
Appreciate it, y'all. Word.
definitely. Hell yeah, that shit. I tell everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody that I know appreciate good music. You know what I'm saying? I tell them go listen to that.
Definitely listen to live Mula, y'all.
Word.
Yeah, because
Word.
it's definitely not, you know what I'm saying? A lot of hip hop out there right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You got a song, Too Many Plutos.
Too many words.
You know what
I
I'm
mean, we
saying?
can talk about that's
you know what I'm saying?
that record. Too Many Plutos. That came out of. I was having a conversation with Low Key from Apple Music. I think this is when Nicki, not this rant, because Nicki just went on a rant yesterday, but this is probably 2 rants ago. So me and Lo was talking about it, and we like, yo, Nicki always. This is when she going in on Jay and shit. What she was basically trying to say was like, they stopping her from doing this and doing that, and this is why people are not receiving the music. And me and Lo was having a conversation like, I don't think that that's the case. I think the case is that, like, bro, the culture took a shift after that Kendrick and Drake battle, to the point where, like, hip hop is in a transitional phase to where people just a little bit over the heavy auto-tune sound. Like, this is why acts like the Clips are can come back and do what they did. Kendrick is being praised. JID just put some now. All these like acts that probably wouldn't get the spotlight of hip hop maybe 4 years ago, 3 years ago, are now people want authenticity. They don't want something packaged up or, you know, presented to you by a label telling you like, this is the new hot dude, because they've rejected. And I don't want to put these artists on blast, but there's been a couple of artists that came along that have been like what people would call industry plants. And then I've watched the culture universally like, nah, we ain't jacking that. No matter who he's on a feature with.
Yeah.
And some motherfuckers come in with the biggest feature on their first record and all this big push. and everybody looking at it like, nah,
Trash.
yeah, I'm good on that. So trash. So that was my whole thing. Like, yo, like, let's step away from that. I don't want to make something that sound like what been going on the last 10 years. If we gonna draw any kind of inspiration from an era, it ain't gonna be the previous one. It's gonna be the golden era of what I feel hip hop was, which was 90s all the way up to early 2000s. I felt like that was just the era that, bro, hip hop was like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what made me fall in love with it. So I was like, if I could in any kind of way make people feel how I felt when I was listening to that shit on my shit, then I think we did a good job. So when we was making this shit, like, all I listened to was shit from that era. Like, I had Big on repeat. I had Mobb Deep, Infamous on repeat. Bro, I even had America's Most Wanted from Cube on repeat. Like, just to get different, cadences, different styles. Whoa, my favorite rapper, period, is Big, like, period. And I just always felt like, I don't know if it's because people couldn't do it, but, like, his storytelling ability was one of one.
Yeah.
Like, Big, to me, is what introduced me to the storytelling side of hip-hop, because that's a skill in itself. Yeah. Like, there's always, some people have the battle rap skill, some people have the cadence skill, the voice, the ability to make hooks. Big shit was, bro, that nigga could give you a rhyme, and you see it as vividly as if it was an audio book. And there's no slight at Pac. We love Pac. I love Pac, but I don't see the same energy for Big sometimes. That shit bothers me, bro. As somebody from Brooklyn, as somebody that, like, bro, Biggie was the first, like, to be taking shit that wasn't even hip-hop and flowing on it. Juicy, all these records with these heavy samples from different genres. Like, Big really kind of ushered that shit in, bro.
Definitely.
And he don't get half the praise of Pac. And I don't know if it's because there's more of an outpouring of love for Pac. Maybe Pac, touched a little bit more people. But for me, bro, even being a kid, I remember listening to Biggie and being in amazement. So I'm like, yo, like, when we make this project, I want to pay ode to the great one, bro. So there's a couple of songs on there where I try to encapsulate that energy, even down to the flow and the cadence, how I do shit. Like, I got this one record called Smokestack.
I was just 5 niggas in a Honda.
Oh, yeah, 5 in the Honda.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 in the Honda. Bro, that came, I'm going to tell you, 5 in the Honda came, first of all, that's the story of how I, like, really got shot. I just changed, certain situations around. But that came from listening also to Today's Agenda, God Casinos Up in the Splendor. That came from listening to that. Like, I'm listening to Life After Death and all these stories. I'm like, yo, why nobody do this no more? And instead of complaining about it and be like, yo, why they don't do this no more? I'm like, I'm gonna do this. Fuck this. Like, nobody's talking like this. Nobody's making shit to where, like, the listener could just close your eyes and be like, damn, I feel like I was there for a minute. And if you could just get a little bit, if I could get a little bit of that to where people could sit there and go, nah, homie, like, I felt like I was there with that record. I feel like, it was a success.
Yeah, so, and I'm going to tell you why I felt like I was there with that record, because my story is similar.
Wow.
Being shot, set up by a girl.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So that just took me back. I was like, oh, God. That's the second track on the album.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that came on, and that really put me in tune. After the first one already put me in tune.
Yeah, man. We had to get that because we wanted to kick it off. I remember playing the shit for my mom's. She's not a hip hop fan. So I remember playing shit for my mom's, and she heard that particular song, and she said, it just sounds like chaos is going on. Like, she's like, I can't really understand. She's like, it just sounds like chaos. And I say, Mama, what was it like raising me in the East? Like, she was like, chaos? I was like, there we go. Then I did my job. If you feel like you just, I was like, because that was my whole goal. How do I encapsulate East New York on a song? How do I paint the story of what it's like on the East just with words and sounds? So I'm like, I gotta drop motherfuckers off right in the middle of it. I don't even got time. Like, the intro, we addressed a couple things that were going on in the culture, but I consider 5 in the Honda, like, that's where the album starts off. Like we dropping you right off in the middle of the East in the car with 5 of the homies. This is what we talking about. This is what we think about. This is what we drinking. We drinking E&J because we can't afford Henny. We drinking it. You know what I mean? We riding off of it like
525.
right. That's fire that you said that. So word that like I just want to drop people off right in the middle of the East and just I think once certain people like you said like as soon as you heard it you was like this is familiar. Yeah, I know this. I wanted to make it for people like you, but then I also wanted to make it for people who are tourists of hip hop. So that's why like it'll go from 5 in a Honda, and then the track after that is In God We Trust, because I know there's people listening like, wait, what just happened? So they treat hip hop like a safari, you know? They get close enough to see the danger without being affected. So it was almost like me mocking that a little bit. Like, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you heard that crazy shit? This is typical trap shit in it. So that was like a kind of cynical satire on how we do shit sometimes. Because we'll sit there and, you know, present chaos as organized, like organized chaos. Like, yeah, there's a song about how I kill so-and-so, but it's fire. And then you listen to the song and you like, yo, this is literally how he literally killed, word for word I killed. I walked him down in the middle of the alley, put the bullet in his head, and it's like, it was almost a satire on that. Like, yo, this is how y'all sound to me. Because I know a lot of these stories y'all tell is either bullshit or embellished. So it just sounds like y'all just these white tour guys telling us what we already know. So right from there, we go into the In God We Trust shit, in which we like, I definitely wanted to embody Big on that, because I was like, what if Big could talk about what was going on in hip hop right now? He would probably look at a lot of this shit and say something to this effect. So that was the first verse of In God We Trust. And then the second verse, I was like, what if Def was a person? What if Def was somebody watching hip hop? And I say this line in there where I go, if the carnage didn't stalk all the beats you're blessed, maybe I would visit hip hop less. I'm just saying. So I'm speaking as Def to hip hop, going, kind of critiquing it and saying like, y'all made something that was pure and full of life and energy and pride in our culture, and almost turned it into something, a death sentence. You know, you almost turned it into a meeting, and this is me talking as Def on the record. Y'all turned it into a meeting with me. And the youngins, y'all in a rush to meet me. I don't know why. So there was just a lot of like taking myself out of just being Chapo and trying to speak from different perspective. And then we kind of wrap it up on a third verse to that, In God We Trust, and we just like, we telling people like, yo, though Def is it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a transition. And though these people y'all look at, Nipsey, Big Pac, they good. We gonna tuck them in the clouds where the choir plays, where the blues meet gospel and the foundation laid. So don't fear me, we just turn in the page. The verses carry on when the physical fades. So it's just wrapping it up in an experience of, you know, like, take a look at our culture of what we do. Sometimes it's not the best shit we shine light on, but how do we fix that? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, definitely.
That's like with us, right? With us being reality poets or whatever in our group, each one of us have a different style. And the way when we go to perform, it's like you say, we have a setup. You know, it's a story. You might just say it's a storyline, because each person has a different story to tell and a different way they tell it. So V has his own, I have my own way. And basically, like, they normally save me for last to close it out. V, the boss, he goes in the middle. We got our man L. He's a heavy hitter, you know. They save the heavy hitters for, like you said, like, okay, people, here go the soft shit, but now let us wake you up. You know what I'm saying? Right. And they'll bring him out. Then they bring out.
Yeah, we usually, you know what I'm saying, put him the last. We gotta make sure ain't no kids in the room. You know what I'm saying? he the one that's gonna say.
Put the kids away. I gotta tell you.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the one that gotta be asking, like, can I take the safety off?
Right.
Is it safe to
dig.
shoot the shit up.
I dig, bro. But yeah, man, that was the whole, like, that's why I wanted to talk to y'all. Cause I'm like, just from what Stein told me, and then I watched 2 episodes I watched, I'm like, I don't want it to, even when we were talking pre this, oh, yo, what questions you comfortable? I'm like, dog, let's just make it a conversation. Like, fuck all that, like, trying to be politically correct and all that. Like, let's cut these cameras, cut the mics on. Let's just have a conversation and just talk hip hop. Because there were a lot of points that you guys had on previous episodes that I share, and a lot of things that y'all preach is things that I preach on my platform. You know what I mean? Which is like, I just feel like we got a culture problem right now. Our culture has been hijacked by some suits in blackface.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of suits that benefited off of certain artists beefing, certain artists dying, certain artists having issues. And when you let someone else run the culture for us for about 15 years, I would say it's been going on. When you let them run the culture for about 15 years, what happens is you start diluting the culture. Now you got this new thing that's going on, this whole payola thing, pay for play, when it's like some of the greatest genres, from blues all the way to hip hop, some of the greatest artists that came out of it was birthed out of struggle. How you gonna take struggle out that's the main ingredient in hip hop. Yeah. Like, I don't want to hear the stories of some privileged kid and fucking, you know what I mean? Like, who's able to sit there and pay $1,000 to get his song on a playlist, or able to pay Vlad $20,000 to go sit with him and talk. Like, I want to hear the kid that wouldn't get a chance. I want to hear the stories of the kid that who's actively living it, not watching it from the internet and having an opinion. So there was just a lot of things I didn't agree with how hip hop was going. And then once I seen kind of behind the artists and who had their finger on the culture, and it all leads back to one place. And I ain't gonna be the conspiracy guy on here, but just look who's behind a lot of these artists, bro. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of these artists that promote a certain lifestyle within our culture, like, I used what I did with Sinners as a case study for us, because I can't help where I come from, but like, my music is gonna grow with me. Like, every project ain't gonna be the same shit. I just had to tell my story first, tell it where I come from. This is the morals and integrity that I was instilled with. This is how I came up. And then who knows what my next album will sound like. I may be on a whole different type of mind state, but that's up to me when I'm creating. But I feel like that's not the case for a bunch of artists now. A bunch of artists are being told by execs to rap about this because this is what sells. Yeah. And if this is what sells, this is where you need to be at. And I've watched so many artists compromise not only who they are, but like start feeding it. Like, I remember the whole point of being a fucking rapper was to not be a gangster. Now niggas, it's like niggas become rappers to be gangsters. It don't make sense.
Yeah.
Not even gangster.
And not even gangsters. Like, if you wasn't a gangster before your rap check, you can't be one after. Yeah. You can't buy status in the street. You can't buy ranking in the street. You can't buy street smarts. This is why, like, I thought this was like exposed with like the 6ix9ine situation and all. Like, I thought this, like, those type of situations would expose that. Like, yo, this is what happens when you try to put someone that's not from somewhere in something and tell them to run with it.
Yeah, but now instead they get richer.
Now they get richer. And now, listen, all they did was they traded fucking bandanas for suits and ties now. And now they coming in, and some of the biggest gangsters in hip hop is in a suit and ain't even black. You feel me? Like, they coming in for and we let them. Like, that's the fucked up part, because we sit there and hold our own people back by playing fake gatekeeper. Oh, you got to pay me to get on. You got to pay me to get it. Why can't he get on because he dope? Why can't he get on because he fired? And he's somebody that should be listened to. And he's somebody that actually got something to say. Why is it, oh, he got to have this much? So it's like, when you got our own people policing our own people from getting on, then you got them at the top with an agenda and only see us as sheep. Like, you know what I mean? They look at us as the black community. What can we sell them next? We tell them to buy Gucci, they go and buy Gucci. We tell them to buy Louis, they go and buy Louis. We tell them Benz is what it is, Benz is the thing. Like, we moved the needle in America, period. Like, you know what I mean? And still sitting there, like, letting them do that shit. Instead of getting in, like, and it seems like every time we get somebody that get there, we quick to break them down. I'm not here to justify Puff, none of that shit. But it's so crazy that when Puff and Hove and all these guys, and even Dame and all these guys, get to the level of where we look at them as like, all right, those are the big dogs. Here come these.
Yeah,
somebody trying to tear that one down. They did it to Bill fucking Cosby, bro. Like, that shit, I don't know when people gonna see, like, bro, we don't got no more leaders. They've been killing all our leaders since Fred Hampton. They've been killing our leaders since then. So every time we get somebody that we look at as, and I hate to be blasphemous, and we shouldn't, but as our black messiah or whatever, they take him the fuck away from it. We was at a point where we was ready to crown that on Nipsey. Took his ass out of here. And I'm not saying they, meaning like there's a force, but I'm saying like the ideas imprinted into this culture have been damaging, bro. And there's very few people that want to speak up. And when you start creating an atmosphere of people not being able to talk about what's going on in the streets without being like chastised for it and all that, like that's why I look at Kendrick. I see why Kendrick left the politics heavy shit on To Pimp a Butterfly. I see why, because that was to let the audience know, hey, dog, this is what I'm on. This is what I represent. At the end of the day, this is my core of what I believe in. And that album commercially, like you only heard about that album as like rumbles. We knew it was a classic. We all heard it as a classic. We knew when that album first came out, it was a classic. But I remember the talks of that album coming out. It's boring. I don't really get it. And I'm like, cause he not talking in the language that y'all want to hear it in, but he's saying something that's super imperative to our culture, bro. I just feel like our culture's been broken for a minute, and instead of us being the ones to fix it, we kind of contribute to like breaking it down. Like, and that's the whack part about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Culture definitely need to be fixed.
Yeah, and a lot of things you say that, you know what I'm saying? Is that why you say the industry don't deserve me?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that, bro. I feel like, you know, and when I say deserve, I didn't mean it to sound as like cocky, but I meant it to sound more like y'all don't deserve the passion that certain artists put in. Like, y'all don't deserve it because y'all won't appreciate it. People won't appreciate, you know, the storytelling or the layering of an album. People will instantly run to, well, how much numbers it got? What's it streaming? Like, I remember when I first put this album, I had 151 monthly listeners. I think we had like 12, 13,000, some shit like that now. But when I first put this out, one of the main things people said was, oh, don't nobody want to hear it because you ain't got monthly listeners. You don't got followers. You don't got none. At one point, I ain't have none of this shit I had. I had to build that shit. But it shouldn't take somebody seeing something to have numbers or to have some kind of motion to give it a shot. You know what I mean? And I feel like we've just been programmed for like the last 10 years to only digest shit that got 1 million views or, you know what I mean? Like it that's not the case, bro. A lot of the shit that's cranked up, and that's why I'm glad the conversation about all the numbers being fake, you know, people buying shit. I'm glad these conversations, because this been happening. This been going on for years. Shit that people think is a number one ain't really, but the title of number one is so big for the culture, and it was made big by, I think Hove kind of introduced it into the conversation of hip hop, but the artists that once Hove started to men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I think that was the first time I started paying attention to that shit. Like, started being like, oh, what does that mean? Like, what is number one? Like, that's when I started paying attention, and I determined something being successful by if it got a bunch of views, and then you kind of find out, oh, people pay for that. I didn't know that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think people finding that out now, but it's just it's a fucked up game, bro. And it's a game that's not built for people. Like I say, if you don't love this shit, don't do it. Because if you're gonna do this shit just to get a check, if you're gonna do this shit just to be on some clout shit, this ain't for you, dog. There was nights where nobody was checking for the shit I was putting out. but I love doing this so much that I would do it for free. I still, you know what I mean? Like dedication. Like when you love something, it don't even feel like a job to you. And I feel like hip hop became a job to so many people for so long that like the joy of it was taken out, bro. Even today, like I saw Young Thug stressed. Young Thug stressed out because he did 29,000 records sold. I'm like, how you stressed out, bro? Look at your life. Fuck how much records you sold on this one. You know what I mean? Niggas wasn't feeling you on this one, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You look like you got a pretty decent life to me. I can't speak for him, but you look like you got a pretty decent life to me. So when people see you complaining about shit, or this is why people on his ass the way they are. Because it's like, yo, you preached keeping your mouth shut. Even when Kid Cudi had to go testify, you telling people
He a rat.
And all of this shit. And then look at your dirty laundry put out in front of the world for the world to all sit there and see. It's karma, bro, but it is needed because these guys have, all of a sudden now Young Thug sees every comments. But how many times do these motherfuckers get in front of y'all and be like, I don't pay attention to the comments. I don't ever read the comments. These niggas don't know me. They know you, dog. They know you. You've been putting your life on front of a camera for the last 10, 15 years. Niggas know you. You may think they don't know you because you probably be so high you done forgot all the shit that you posted throughout the years. But niggas have seen your highs, your lows. They've heard about you in blogs. They've seen you on the internet, what you're eating. Look, I'm eating this. I'm with this person. They know where your location. Bro, they know you. So to say, nah, y'all don't know me, that's hypocritical to me. And too many artists do that shit. They hide behind. Because I never seen Young Thug talk to so many fans in 1 week. That nigga's replying to everybody right now. If you got one follower and you say, hey, I didn't just, he's because he in defense mode. Now he gotta, you know what I mean? Yeah. But he gotta realize, yo, you can't beat the internet. You can't.
Now I'm going on there supposed to fuck with him.
Bro, I'm telling you, want to get a quick reply? Go to see these dudes. Bro, all these rappers do that shit though. The moment they going through shit, now they on them socials looking because people care about what people think. No matter what a motherfucker say, oh, I don't care what people think. You care, bro. You care, but it's just cool to say you don't care. It's cool. It's almost like high school shit. Like, niggas don't respect the nigga that look like he trying too hard. You know what I mean? If you look like you trying too hard, niggas like, you trying too hard. I can tell you trying too hard. But if you just got a natural aura about you, people will fuck with that. You know what I mean? And a lot of these rappers, they just try too hard. And if they would just be themselves, I feel like hip-hop would be in a different place. Not to get spiritual, God made us all individuals, bro. It's when you try to be different that you end up looking the same. If you be you, there's only one you. Yeah. So you gonna stand out just on the fact that you. Just keep doing that. But everybody want to put a costume on. Niggas want it's goofy. So we was just hoping to change that whole dynamic around with this album coming on.
Yeah, hell yeah. So that's your question. Dead and alive. Which artist would love to work with that dead?
Dead. Man, obviously Big, man. That's a dream collab right there. Definitely Pac. Just because I just want to see what that energy was like. Like, I hear so much about it through his homies and shit. I'm like, damn, I wonder what he was like in that studio. So definitely Pac. Prodigy. Man, if I could do something with P, the Prophet, that'd be crazy. I would say those are like the main. Oh, Pun. I'm tweaking. Because I just did a Pun freestyle. Like, so yeah, Pun. Definitely Pun. Anybody that was true to the cloth. Like, you know what I mean? Anybody that was one of those guys that, like, I know, like, how I am in the studio, I like to rap. Like, you know what I mean? So the beat's on. From the moment we making a beat, from the drums to I'm rapping. So I can only imagine what, like, those type of sessions would be like. But, yeah, I would say those are probably the top ones, I would say. Deceased. Alive. Me and K-Dot. Me and K-Dot gotta do some. I would say me and K-Dot, obviously Hove. That's a dream to get a Hove verse. Mm-hmm. The Clips, I fuck with the Clips heavy. Honestly, we almost had a Pusha T verse. Like, it was kind of a little bit of my fault. I didn't go to VA. Well, I didn't stay in VA when I was supposed to stay out there, but so Pusha T, bro, there's a lot of people. Honestly, if you love this shit, man, like I don't really even be looking at names. I be looking at more so like, let's make something magic. Like shit, you could put me in there with anybody. I'm all about the record. You know what I mean? Let's make a record. Like I don't want to just send some to a like somebody like a Styles P to drop a 16. Like I want to get in the studio with Styles and like make something from scratch. I want to sit there and build something like. So that's always my approach like when making music. So anybody that's down for that type of shit, like I'm always for it.
How that Freeway verse come?
So I met Freeway well over like probably 15 years ago. And I met him through Walter Jones. Walter Jones, I think, is currently, I think he's the head of Sony Publishing. And I had that verse for a minute. And I never did anything with it. Like I got a bunch of, like I got a verse from Kiss. I got a verse from Daylight. I get a lot of verses because when I used to, songwrite and shit like that. But I'm big on the song. If I feel like, the song ain't there yet, I don't really care how big the verse is. I won't put it out yet. Like, you know what I mean? So like, there's a bunch of verses that I like literally have in the vault that I just feel like the song ain't there. And I'm like, yay, when it come to like creating, bro. My brain is all over the place. Like, you know what I mean? And like, if I'm locking in on something, I'm that guy that's like, fuck trying to make a choir. Let's go get a choir. Like let's sit and build this motherfucker. If we gonna make it grand, let's make it grand. So I've done records like in passing with an artist, and they'll hit me up like, yo, why you put that out yet? And I'm like, I don't know, it's just not there yet. But then when it finally come out, they're like, oh nigga, like you know what I mean? Like that shit hard.
Funny shit, man, that you just brought up, Ye. Every time you look this way, you look like fucking Ye.
I've heard
Beyonce got the greatest record of all time.
Where, bro, I've got that like all the time, bro. Like even in the studio, like I be with art, they be like, "Yo, you like Ye Junior, bro." They always say that, but he was honestly production wise, he was somebody that like I learned from too. Like you know what I mean, as far as creative wise, like I don't really agree where he's at now, but one thing about that, when he in that hip hop bag, and people know that bag, like when he in that pulling samples out the crate bag, and he in that blueprint,
he creative.
He's one of one, and I wish he would like stay more in that bag because he was really one of the guys he was one of our leaders at one point, and I seen him do it to him. But that nigga went from a billionaire one day and then woke up the next day and lost everything. So. I know the power of them people, bro. I know how they could twist the narrative. I know how they could spin shit. I know how they could attach your name to shit that make it so that anytime you come up, it's like a symbiotic relationship, whatever that thing is. Like, that shit really exists. You know what I mean? I had a whole campaign run against me by a rapper. So I definitely know it's possible. And, you just got to kind of bite down and just hope that people could see through the bullshit a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the internet's gonna go undefeated, but if you show up to the internet every day with integrity, you don't be on no bullshit, kind of let people see that, like, yo, this is what I'm about, this is what I'm not about. The narratives will fix themselves, because everything fixed over time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember last year we were in the news for something crazy, that shit died down, and then them same people doubled back because there was a narrative flowing around. But they doubled back to check on me and was going, wait a minute, maybe that shit not true about someone. So like, I don't see, he's still on the same shit. He's still doing the same shit. So somebody lying here. And then when other people get caught in lies, that's when they make it a little bit more difficult for them. But, I just been staying true to what I do, bro. Like, I don't jump in lanes that I feel ain't mine. You know what I mean? I kind of I'm like a lone wolf. You know what I mean? I stick with the people I love. I stick with the people I fuck with. And I just kind of, I move forward. Like, you know what I mean?
That's the best way, stay in your own fucking lane.
Yeah, hell yeah. So, who you listening to today?
Today, You know what's crazy? I caught myself listening to Lil Baby today. I don't know how the fuck that shit happened, but so yeah, that me too. But people would think because of the type of hip hop I make, they would think I wouldn't fuck with somebody like Lil Baby. But my thing is, bro, if I feel the music you making is you, if it's who you are, I can appreciate it, even if it's not per se like a everyday thing for me, even if it's not per se like something I would listen to on a repetitive basis, I can appreciate it. Like, you know what I mean? Like Tyler just had an album that I didn't wasn't my type, wasn't for me, but did I sit there and not appreciate? I'm like, yo, this nigga's he's an amazing artist. You can't deny that. Like you can't take certain shit away from people. That's why I'm like, if the music is pure, you get a pass in my book. But if, like, when I see Thug coming in with this shit that he just did, with the white face and the hard ERs, that's not pure.
Yeah.
That's music with an intention to get into an algorithm, with an intention to try to, like, I can't get behind that. So I'm not even going to entertain it and listen and act like, well, the beat is nice. The whole presentation is off. Like, you know what I mean? Trash. The whole presentation is off. And I feel like once you start getting into that, never let the music take a hit, bro. You want to go and make your life a public record and, yo, this who you dating and this one, by all means, it's your business. But once it start bleeding into, like, affecting the quality of the music and how pure it is, that's when it's like, that's corny.
Like when you say baby, you know what I'm saying? I was kind of the same way, and I heard Styles P say it. You know what I'm saying? His voice used to fucking annoy him. Then he said he started really listening to what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like, hold up, he one of us.
You one of us.
You know what I'm saying? And
with an accent.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
You know what I'm saying? And
Word. That's what you gotta realize with these dudes, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Off a first glance, it look a little off. Like I see some of the outfits, I see some of the shit that be going. I be like, I don't know, like I don't know. But when you hear them, cause all of that shit, stylists, I look at that as, bro, that's industry shit. That's somebody coming in and saying, how do we make you viral? How do we get people talking about this? Because if they're not talking about the music, so they gotta get something else to talk about. So this is where the weird outfits come from, the nails being painted, the antics of all of that shit. That's where that shit come from. But if I listen to your music and, like I said, if it's pure, I don't hear Baby rapping about painting his nails. I don't hear Baby rapping about little ass shorts and thigh tattoos. No funny shit. But like, he rapping about the shit that, you know what I mean? So I feel like the music is pure in that aspect, and I could get behind that. But once you start like, all of my ops are niggers and all that, it's like, come on, dog. Like, what we doing here? Like, this is just goofy now.
yeah, man. So making this album, man, and like I said, man, it's a great body of work, man.
Thank you, bro.
How you planning to continue pushing it? You know what I'm saying? We need, like you say, the culture to come stand behind this, man. Because this is music, and this is what needs to be heard, and this is, especially if you somebody to listen to music and like to feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this album is definitely something to listen to. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need the people talking about this. And I really could appreciate a body of work like that, man.
Thank you, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like you created a movie. You created, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Something that you can really feel, you can really relate to. A lot of music ain't like that right now. You know what I'm saying? A lot.
You definitely talented and versatile, son.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it,
Very
Kate.
talented and versatile.
Yeah, like you definitely showed that you versatile on this, man, by switching up the flows and you made it sound like hip hop. Like that shit is really hip hop. And I was telling my man the other day I had a pair of new Apple headphones, my nigga, and I listened to that shit. You know what I'm saying? And now my fucking headphones don't work. You know what I'm saying? I gotta take them shits back to Apple. You know what I'm saying? I was telling my man that the other day, and I'm dead ass though. You know what I'm saying? I take
we
these
OD'd
pills,
on the
like,
bass.
That nigga bass out.
Now I got it on the big speaker in the room. That's something you wake up, throw on. You know what I'm saying? And really 5 hours, start your day off of. If you haven't listened to it, you know what I'm saying, go listen to that Sinners, man. Live Mula.
Word.
Go listen to
Definitely,
that.
definitely that first track.
Definitely, man. I made it for y'all, man. Like I literally made it for my people. So I mean, I'm just hoping. Like I know certain things are a little slow sometimes, but for us, I ain't never seen an artist like go from, you know, relatively like nobody really knew who we were, and then fast forward like a couple of weeks later, now like we getting all these calls from labels and to do this and do that. So it's an amazing feeling, bro. And all I could do is credit it back to some K Dot said at the awards. Dot was like, if you stay true to the craft, if you stay true to the art form, the culture will reward you in its own way. And like I'm big on that. I'm big on representing the culture and doing it for the culture. So my whole thing is as long as it's spread word of mouth. I know mainstream and catch on later. They always do. You know what I mean? Like they always late to the party. But I just make sure I document everything, you know, that we got going on because I want people to see that we ain't just drop out the sky. Like there's a story behind there, and we really poured it all into this project. And I'm just glad that people receiving it, you know, the way they are. I thought it was gonna take, you know, I'm one of them people that sit with an album for like a week, you know what I mean, before I like make an opinion about it. And then I remember the first day we put it out, I didn't expect anybody to say anything because I'm like, they're probably all just listening. But just the outpouring of love, people writing in comments, instant classic, who's this? Like, I did an interview on college radio, and like that shit is hitting over like 54 countries, and you know everybody's talking about this record I got called Smokestack, and it's all fast, but I'm like, yo, this is dope, you know, because I know it's built off of the purity and the love of what it is, you know what I mean? And I tell people, bruh, I'm in awe. I'm in awe of how this shit moving. And, you know, I'm just thankful, you know, thankful to hip hop because a lot of motherfuckers don't really get, like, a chance in this shit to be themselves and be successful. So for me to be able to be myself without having to put on a persona or having to, like, you know, tap dance or, yo, listen to my new club record or this is my new record for the girls or this is my new record for the TikTokers. And, like, to be able to put out pure hip-hop and to be appreciated and even the Gen Zs fucking with it, like, I'm like, damn, we on to something here. So I just want to keep it, you know, as pure as possible and just and stay the course, you know what I mean?
I know you said in the beginning, I mean, all rappers start off at best basically doing poetry. And that's something we do. But me, I can't touch base with myself to find the flow. You know, but my brother over there, he's tapping in and fucking with the beats and he, you know, he's making his little song and shit. I normally don't do this shit, but since you're here, and I'm gonna say, let me give this to you. There be days that I wish that I got shot in my head. Instead, I'm fucking stuck in a hospital bed. Why couldn't he leave me in the pool that was all right? Instead, I'm left with a body that's half dead. Only if he raised his arm about an inch or two, I wouldn't be here telling my story to you. There'd be a bunch of days that I wake up feeling blue because of the bunch of things that I didn't get a chance to do. I can't up and get up and run, teach my son how to play ball, or get up and run if he needs me at the drop of a call. Is this punishment for all the wrong that I did? Now I've been sentenced to this wheelchair doing a life sentence bed. And now some other nigga is fucking my chick while I'm sitting here waiting for the nurses to come wash my dick. I ain't gonna give you the whole thing.
That is powerful, bro. That is powerful.
That's why they saved me for the finisher.
Wow.
That's just some of it.
Now we definitely gonna put that on a beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro, that shit just gave me chills. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. Real shit. Like, damn.
Now we definitely, you know what I'm saying? And when it's over, we can go in and, you know what I'm saying, and
Shit.
listen to some shit too.
Absolutely.
You know what
Put
I'm
me in the
saying?
booth, champ. Put me in the fucking booth.
That was powerful, bro.
Yeah, but you know
That
what I'm
shit gonna
saying?
stick with me. I ain't gonna lie.
And how
Word.
we like to end it, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how you end your album with Curtain Call. So we usually ask the question, you know what I'm saying? Like when it's all said and done, you know what I'm saying? Like what you want people to, what you want your legacy to be, what you want people to know you know what I'm saying?
Oh, you want them to know Chapo as
Wow. My bad. I'm still stuck on that freestyle, bro. My bad. I think when it's all said and done for me, I want to be known as a true creative, somebody that was true to this, somebody that was authentic, somebody that was himself, somebody that wasn't scared to be himself, somebody that stood for integrities and morals and some of the lessons that were passed on to me from my OGs, and hopefully that the younger generation could pick up some of that game from me, and just, having that moral compass, man, just understanding, right and wrong, no matter what it's up against, like wrong is wrong, right is right. And as long as you keep that moral compass in your life and walk with that, I think, that's what I would want to be known for. That ain't nothing full of shit here. I came in authentic. I came in myself, and I wasn't shy to be myself. I wasn't ashamed to be who I was. Because y'all hear it on the album, like there's a sense of shame of the things I did in the past and some of the lives I may destroyed, or, even down to something as simple as the women I dealt with. Like, knowing that that's somebody mama now. You know what I mean? And I done gave that woman scars, or like I done destroyed my community in a certain kind of way with the things I did or the choices I decided to make. So there's a lot of atonement like throughout this album. And that's why I started off as a sinner, and I'm hoping to end it as a saint. I'm hoping to come out of it understanding the decisions that I made, understanding that, like, I did this, I'm not proud of it, but as a man, I stand on that. Like, I stand on, like, taking accountability and somehow finding a redemption in this second chapter, which I call, like, being an artist now. Because I feel like my life was in 3 chapters. I was Fame the songwriter, then I became Chapo, the street star, and then I became Mula, the artist. Like, each chapter taught me something completely different. And, I'm just looking back in the chapter I am now and looking back on my previous one and telling that story and trying to make people understand why I made those choices or why I didn't make those choices. And then hopefully on the next project, I'll be looking back at this, and keep doing that. But I'm always looking back to better something, to try to be the best version that I could be, not only as an artist, but just as a person too. Because I feel like, what good is it to have dope music if you a shitty person? You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple artists I know like that, like just amazing music, but the moment their song is off and they in a room, they just assholes, or there's just a certain arrogance there. Like, I just try to stay away from that, you know what I mean? And just be grateful. I still try to have that feeling of when I was a kid, like just being happy that I'm even wanted in the room. Before I used to be happy I was in the room. Now I'm more happy like that I'm wanted in that room. Yeah, that they want my presence in that room. So
your dedication got you to where you are today, son. And without dedication, a lot of people won't be nowhere. Like you said, a lot of people just want that fucking handout and want somebody to read their fucking palm. You know what I'm saying? But, and don't want to do the work. But you stayed dedicated and it got you to where you are today.
And it's definitely going, you know what I'm saying, keep dropping music like this, man. Like,
absolutely, bro. I'm actually working on another one now. I mean, not to take attention away from Sinners, but I'm actively working on, like, I'm never not working on music, but it's very rarely that I get inspired to do a project. But after the reception from this one, it just opened the doors into, like, now I'm working on another one. I even got, like, some collab situations coming up soon. Like, I don't want to jinx them too early, but
I'm about to start rolling around with you like you did with Game and them.
right, bro. Hey, we here, bro. We moving.
It's always good to have a handicapped friend.
Absolutely.
We getting free. We skip the lines. Everybody
with
ought to
it.
keep a handicapped friend. I'm telling you. Come in handy.
We coming in.
I'm telling you.
Facts.
No, we come in handy. You skip it. You never wait in the line. You get through the train.
Bro, that was so
everything.
I was saying, yeah, man. Like I was saying, man, appreciate you for coming out.
Definitely,
man.
son.
Like definitely,
Thank you.
man.
Like I said, you the first real mainstream artist that we had.
It's fire.
We appreciate you coming, son.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me, bro. Like, the fact that y'all fuck with the album just made it even better. I was like, yeah. Because I was already a fan of what y'all was doing already. But then to know that y'all actually fuck with the album, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely got to go chop it up with these guys. So.
Nah, definitely. Yeah,
Like I said, once he told me to listen to it and he said you was from Brooklyn, I said, oh, nah.
Brooklyn always getting it.
Because I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Fort Greene.
Okay.
I definitely felt your pain on that, son.
Word, man. Thank you. That mean a lot, especially coming from my fellow Brooklynites. So as long as I held it down for the city and the city think I held it down, like I said, that's what I do it for. You know, to put the city on and to uphold this hip hop shit that we all love, that we all grew up on, and even though it changes and it takes a different shape every 10 years or whatever, like there's still an essence and a core to it. And I think, like I said, if you stay true to that shit and stay true to that core and essence, man, like, it'll take you far. Like, it really would. And that come from not only just from you guys, but this is shit, Wisdom, Busters told me this, Games told me this. Like, this is just something that I've always been almost like beat into your head. Like, bro, respect the art form. And it'll respect you back. If you try to come in and manipulate it, and it's going to treat you how you treat it. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm just glad that we don't get looked at as a gimmick. We don't get looked at as a one-hit wonder, or like we didn't come in with a hot single that we got to match. Mm-hmm. There's very few artists that come in with a body of work that people gravitate towards. So, you know, it's a blessing, bro. It really is. And I got to salute K-Dot for that, for making people appreciate bars and lyricism on a mainstream level. You know what I mean? Because for a while it was run by a different style of music, and I think the shift in culture and just the cultural awareness of us is to even look at ourselves as hip-hop as a culture. Like, you know, we want to uphold certain values. There's certain things that we tolerate, certain things that we won't tolerate. And I feel like it's okay to speak on those things and forward the culture. So that's how I be on it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Once again, man, go listen to that sentence if you ain't heard it. Promise you, like I said at the beginning, man, after you listen to it, your favorite rapper has emerged, just like he said, man.
Fuck the bars and metaphors.
Let me talk to you.
You know what I'm saying? All right, yo, we out.
We out.
V to the AR.
Streets don't love nobody. Gotta find a new route to make it out.